Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm technical support for By Demes Ireland, and today I will be talking about one of our access control solutions, ANVIZ. In particular, I want to talk about software CrossChex, which is used together with access control devices like T5 Pro, M5 Pro, or time attendance devices like OC500. Before I begin with the software side of things, I'd like to show you how to find all the user guides and software that you need to work with ANVIZ devices. Simply navigate to anviz.com, and at the bottom of the main page, under the support section, you'll find Download Center. Click on that. Here, you can select your product. You can choose your model, or you can search by keyword. For now, I want to show you how to find M5 Pro, for example. You find it there, and then you gotta click this little magnifying icon to search for it. So there it is. You can download the manuals, guides, catalogs, and so on. If you, for example, want to share this quick guide with someone else, you just click on the size of the file here, right click, you copy link address, and when someone pastes it in the new tab like this, they will automatically download the file. So I'll open it for me right here. I believe I already have it downloaded. There it is. So I'll download it again. And I'll talk about M5 Pro a little. So M5 Pro is one of the biometric devices that could be used with a fingerprint and with a card. As you can see here, we have some basic information. Installation diagrams, wiring instructions. I'll enlarge this a little just for better clarity. Everything's explained here, as you can see. Here's a quick look at CrossChex. This is the home screen of it. Now, one of the methods of programming the device before it's installed on its permanent place is connecting to it via mini USB, which is provided with the device. So when you connect the device to your laptop or computer, you can connect it with the USB, which will give it power. I believe 5 volts. To power it up and to program it. So what you have to do is you have to connect it with USB to get power, and you connect it with a Cat5 or Cat6, doesn't matter, and you connect it to your laptop or computer and talk to it basically in that way. All you have to do is set up your IP address range on your laptop, so it can communicate. I believe you can find there it is. The IP address of the device would be this one, for example. But you can change it anyway. The device would come with two cards. Those are different than the user cards. So one of them would be enroll card, and the other one is delete card. You would use these cards to enroll users. So you would basically swipe enroll card on the device. Then you would swipe user card once, twice, and then swipe the enroll card again. Same process with the deletion. You swipe delete card, user, and delete card. But you can find all these little all this information in these guides, which will explain exactly how to do it. There is also this function button. In the case of M5 Pro, it's located on the back side, and you can use that function button to enroll new cards, to enroll new enroll cards or delete cards in case you misplaced the original ones. It's going to show you how to program fingerprints as well, how to delete users, delete cards, and so on. One important information is that it's a good thing to make user backups in case of that the employee leaves the company. And of course, when a person leaves the company, you won't have access to their fingerprints. So it's a good thing to make user backups, which will make fingerprint backups as well. And you can delete them later on from the database if that user or employee is not in your company anymore. So you can use that to delete their information from the system. Okay, so that's one of the devices. You can find the same little booklets for every other device on ANVIZ.com. Now I want to talk a little about CrossChex. So this is CrossChex. This would be your software to control ANVIZ devices. You can use it for time attendance, for access control. You can use it for all sorts of stuff, and I'll show you here. So first thing I want to show you is a database setting. So when you click here, you will have two options. One of them is your local database, which is stored on your computer. So you can set up your database to wherever you want on the computer. And the other option is SQL Server. If you choose this option, you basically choose it there from the list and set up your IP address and all the other details. For this example, I'll stay on Access. Next card would be basic parameters. Here we have a custom field settings. Here you can add new fields. These fields will appear on the other section under users here. These will be used to add new sections which will give more information about the particular user. So I'll show you this later on. Here we have some communication parameters. You don't really need to touch these. These would be set up already. So we'll skip down to downloading records. This section here will be for your automatic downloads of your records that are made every day, basically. So what you do here is you have 5 possible times throughout the day. For now, I have it set to download records every day at 12 p.m. You can also choose an option to export into text files. after downloading, and there you can choose your path and so on. The next card would be, sorry about that. So the next card would be attendance parameters. Here you can set loads of options. We'll start with this one here. So this option means if you choose count as the first day, I'll give you an example here. Let's say your shift starts 8 p.m. today and it finishes 4 a.m. the next day. If you choose option count as the first day, your shift will be counted as it was done today on, let's say, 13th of June. If you choose count as the second day, your shift will be counted as the tomorrow, as it was finished tomorrow, and it will be counted for tomorrow, so on 14th June. It's just so you can, you can choose basically whatever suits you best. Next we have work day counts as, so 540 minutes that's 8 hours. You can choose how long your working day is. Shortest working time, I recommend putting anything above 0. I chose 10 here. Longest working time is, so you got to be careful with this one. If you set it too low, you will disregard any hours worked after this amount. So I placed 720 minutes. Now this option is this not clocked in count as late. This option, if you tick it, if you don't clock in, if an employee doesn't clock in the morning, he will get a 60 minutes penalty, like 60 minutes discounted off his working day. This would be some kind of penalty for him not clocking in or basically not coming to work. Same for this one, not clock out count as early. So if the employee doesn't clock out when he's leaving for home, 60 minutes will be discounted from his work day, or reduced from his work day. Here, basically what we have is which days will be counted as weekend. So here I have it set up for Saturday and Friday. That's the most common setting. Next one is how you set up your different situations, like normal working day. You can choose unit, so I'll choose day and minimum 1 day. These options here, round off control, they are, let's say, advanced options. You can find detailed explanation of these few options in the help section here, in help section, and then help again. You'll get a tutorials here of all kinds, which explain you whatever function is basically. So you can find an explanation for these controls here, and then make sure when you're changing these settings to hit apply. That's very important. Otherwise, you'll lose your changes. We got a second sub tab here, which is called overtime. So for overtime, you have a fun little option here which says on duty. This option will if you tick it, 30 minutes earlier clocking will count as overtime. So if anyone comes in 30 minutes early, that will be as overtime. However, if you choose deduct the on duty X minutes earlier option, this will deduct those 30 minutes. So let's say your normal working day is from 8 a.m. and someone arrives and clocks in at 7 a.m. So that's 1 hour. They will be deducted by 30 minutes for that 1 hour early clock in, because you chose this little option here. So these, as all the other stuff, these are explained in the help section. If you need to make sure you understand this little option here. Same for off duty. And make sure here that this will be your overtime calculation. So you got 3 overtime settings. It's common that overtime 1 would be 1.5 from normal working time. So make sure you set these and apply these as well. So yeah, make sure to have these enabled, these on duty and off duty settings, so you can acknowledge overtime in the reports later on when we come to that part where we do the reports. Next thing I want to show you is this department setting here. You can add departments here. So for example, if your company is called company X, you can add new departments under it. You just click add, you make a new department, and you click save. And it will create test department under your company. And you can make as many departments there as you want. For now, I'll just delete it because I do not need it for this training. Next setting I have here is status setting. These are my devices that I have rolled in already, but I only have connected OC500, so I'm just gonna leave him there. These status descriptions are the ones that are written on my OC500, which is a time attendance device. So I have them here on my screen. I can change their description to anything I want. I can, instead of in, I can write entry. And I can upload that to the selected terminal, like this. Okay, so yeah, there it is. And now instead of in, it's going to show entry on the screen. For now, I'm going to change it back. And close that. Next card I have here is leave type. So here, I already had one set up before. This is basically your a leave of absence explanation. So you can write, you can create a new one called vacation, mark it, I don't know, anything, this color, and you can choose your minute, hour, or day, and you can set minimum. I would recommend definitely setting up at least one, because if you leave it on 0, you'll have some conflicts which will pop up as errors. So definitely have minimum 1. Same thing here, round off control. You will find explanations to these advanced options in the help section. These would basically be rounding off the time. You can make an indicating symbol here, vacation, and add. Okay, so the background color is black. That's why I can't see anything there. I will change that to this. And there we go. We have a vacation there. So these are leave types. Work code is the next card. Work code is used for making 2 shifts for the one user. For example, morning and evening shift. Let's say your employee works from 8 to 12, and then later on from 1 to 5. Doesn't matter. He has two shifts. You want to differentiate these shifts by giving them different numbers. So shift 1 would be under number 1 with the name morning. And there you can set up the same settings as in the previous card and give it minimum, again, give it minimum 1. And the other one would be, for example, shift 2, which would be evening. And same thing here. And you add both of those, and later on, when the employee is checking in to his shifts, he would choose on the screen of the time attendance device, he would choose number 1 and clock in. So the device would recognize that he's in the morning shift. Same thing, he would choose work code 2 if he is in his evening shift. So the device can track the exact time. Next one, we have a normal holiday list. You can put in, depending on your, of course, on your country. But since we're in Ireland here, we can say that Christmas would definitely be on 25th of December, and how long it lasts, and then you add it. I already have it added here. So those would be kind of guides for this software, so it knows when is what holiday, which holiday. So the next card here, we have a shift setting. And this shift setting has 3 subtables. So we'll start with timetable setting. Here, sorry, here you would set up your, let's say, normal day, as I already have it here. You would set up your timetable name. You would write, let's say, normal day. And then you would choose your on-duty time, which would usually be 8 o'clock, off-duty time, which is 5 p.m. This time, begin clocking time would be for when you want the device to start recognizing the clock-in times. You definitely don't want to put this around 7:30 or 8 because then it wouldn't recognize the early clock-ins. So next one would be end clock-in time, which is after your shift began around 8. This is how long do you want the device to recognize the clock in. Begin clock out time, same thing. If your work for the day finishes around 5 p.m., you want to allow people to clock out early. You want to put this on, let's say, 15, or that's 3 p.m. And clock out time, is when you would finish allowing the clock out. You don't want to limit this too much because you would limit overtime in the same manner. If you would end clock out time around 7:30, you would limit overtime. So be careful of that setting. So now we have late error, which would be how late do you want the device to recognize if someone is late. So if someone comes, clocks in around 8:05, they are still inside the allowed time for clocking. Same thing for the early error. So you can change those to, let's say, 15 minutes if you want. And then you would allow someone being late 15 minutes without any repercussions. Then here you have your work day, which in this case we only have one shift. So we want to put number 1 there. In case we, let's say, we have that morning and evening shift. Let's say we would have morning shift from 8. So I'm going to write this morning here. Morning to, oh, sorry about that. So from 8 to off duty would be 12. And then we can leave this here. We can leave this as well. Clock out time, let's say 10:30, and clock out time 12:30. Since we want to make 2 shifts, we would separate out our setting here to 0.50. So that would be our first shift. And then we would make evening shift, which would be from, now it really doesn't matter. We can start it from 1 and then let it run to 5 p.m. Begin clocking time could be 12:30, or yeah, clock in time can stay there, clock out time stay there as well, and this can stay here as well. And we add another 0.50 and add it. So we have 2 shifts in a day, and they both would be counted as 1 working day. These options here, must clock in and must clock out, you want them enabled. Free time setting is if you want to add another shift just to control your break, your time of break, which is really not the common thing to do. And you got this little setting here on the right saying OT time. This, if you take this, it would mean that you want to make a whole shift count as overtime, for example, Sunday. So that's used for that. Next subtab here is a shift setting. So here you can create shifts, and you can create how many cycles will they have. So in this example, I'll show you 1 week. So this would be your cycle. And you can make it few weeks, let's say 2 weeks. And then you can use your previous information. So let's create this, and you click on add timetable, and there you can create your timetables. So since I chose that the week is a cycle, and I chose 2 of them, I can create, for example, that the first 5 days would be 5-day week. However, the next one in the cycle would have 6 working days, which is from Monday to Saturday. And their times are these here, from 8 to 5. And you press OK on that, and there you have a 2-week cycle, which with 1 week 5 working days, and the next one 6 working days. And you can add as many of these combinations as you want. Next sub-tab is user scheduling. Now here you can search for users, of course. I should already have created user with the name Dan. And if you double click on Dan, you can give him a normal scheduling with a previously created timetable. So normal day, that's the name I gave it. And you can choose from what time to what time it will occur. You can choose between normal and intelligent scheduling. Normal would be preferred because it's you can set it up. It's more modifiable, while the intelligent scheduling setting, you would be choosing one of your timetables, but it could lead to some problems if there's some holidays popping up and similar days. So normal scheduling would be preferred. And you can see the different setups that you had, and it's going to show which day had what kind of timetable, and you can check all those here. So that would be for a shift setting and user scheduling. So let's say in the case of that the user forgets to clock in or clock out, you can help him out by manually adding his records into the software. For that, you would go to Data, and you would choose an option, Append Record. When you click this, you can choose which department is the person from, which user are we talking about, and the status we want to choose for him, and then which date and which time. So you basically, only thing you have to be mindful here about is that if you're manually appending someone's record, you want to choose normal statuses. So you would choose that Dan entered his work, and then went on break, then finished with the break, and then went out or finished with the work. So you want to have some kind of order when doing these parameters. Next thing I want to show you is user tab. So you can of course search for the users here using their user number, their name, or the device number. You can also add the users, add new users. So what you have to do is you click on add, and here you have, since I already have a user created, so that user is Dan, his ID on device number 1. So this new user would be user 2. Choose a name for him, which I'll use test. You can also add a card for him. You can do it in a way that, just a second, I have a card here. So you click on card and you get the card near the device, and it should give you a reading there. It should give you a reading of the card. So that's the card. So this card is already used on the previous user, so I'm just gonna disregard it here. You can also add a password for this user. You can choose which department the user will be. So let's say I choose By Demes here. You can also put him in different groups. So group 0 would mean that the door will never be open for that user. So if you put a user in group 0, he won't be able to open doors. Group 1 would mean that the doors will always open for this user. And group 2 and above or down in this case would be customizable. So you can customize them any way you want. Next thing is identification. So these are different options you can choose. You want to choose RF, fingerprint, or you want to choose all. So any of the options will unlock the door, for example. This would be the option for that. Type of user. Then you can choose a few options here as well. Do you want to calculate his attendance, calculate his overtime, rest and holiday, normal scheduling, intelligent scheduling, or not scheduling? User can also be added as a non-scheduling user in case you have a employee whose shifts are so flexible that you can't put him in some kind of timetable or time frame for a normal working day. Then you would choose not scheduling. If employee works according to needs, one day he works, the other day he does work a few hours in a day, and so on. Second option here is custom fields. So these would be the fields that I mentioned before that you can create them that would describe the user. So you would have these options here, and then you can create new ones as well, which you can expand the information you want to see about each user. Here you can, if you have connected a biometric, for example, fingerprint scanner device, you can add them here. You would basically enroll them. This option would come up, and then you would enroll. You press enroll, and then you put your fingerprint on the device, and then it would be registered and saved. Same here for face registration, and then you would save all of it and press save. This way you can add users onto your devices. You can add a picture for the user. You can open the picture. You can edit the picture, and then you can save it, and you can have a picture for your user. Mind that the picture would only be shown in the database, so on your computer or laptop, not on the device itself. That option would only be reserved for some devices, so they can show you the picture of the person that is entering. You can also use webcam to take a picture of the user if you don't want to use the pre-made picture. So that would be for the users. As you can see, you can export or import users. You can download users to your laptop. You can download templates, upload users, delete them from the device, and you can find them here in this list. In case you have a fingerprint, this field would be green. Next thing I want to show you is the device tab. Here you can delete, add devices. So I already have OC500 added and working. You can add them here. You press add, and then you can choose which type of the device it is, and you can set up device number, device ID, device name. You can choose those yourself, and then you can add it. You can also synchronize time on your device with your laptop. So you would press this synchronize time option, and it's gonna update the terminal. It's a good thing to have for time attendance, so you know your device is set up correctly. So the next thing I want to show you is, since I already have the device there, if you right click on the device, you can find all sorts of options here. You can set the IP configuration, as you can see. You can open the door with the software. You can do it like this with the right click, or you can double click the icon and it's going to open the door. You can also have it set up for a management message. You can add your management message here that will show as a private or a public message for a user of your choosing on what date and what end date, and it's not really a something you really need, but it's a good option to have. And there you can also update firmwares and all the good stuff. So this option here is only some devices would have it from the C family, which would be used to, let's say you want to have a device that will recognize with the help of time of day, that will recognize which format to use. For example, in the morning it would use in set format. So anyone who's coming in the morning, they don't have to make sure that they have a format in on the screen. They would just clock in and be sure that everything went fine. So some devices can automatically switch these formats to in, out, break, and so on. But these devices that I have here, they wouldn't auto switch these settings. Device can, if you want to prevent this confusion, you can also set up two devices. So one device would be in only, and the other one would be out only. So there's no confusion with the time. And if a user forgets to change the format, let's say if he forgets to put the device on out when he's leaving work and so on. So you also have device parameters here. You can, as you can see, you can change all kinds of settings: volume, sleep time, vegan mode. You can even add company names and things like that. There's also an option of activate real time. If you enable this activate real time option, your device will show what's happening real time. So I'm gonna show you with this car here. So I'm gonna register myself with the car now, and it's gonna pop up time. So I chose in format, like I'm heading to work right now, and it's gonna show that in real time. Otherwise, you would have to download new records and see what was happening. So that's a good thing to have as well. Next thing I want to show you is a record tab. Here you can find records for all the users you need or departments. You can choose your begin date, your end date, and then search for those records. As you can see, I was playing with the device a little bit beforehand, so you can see all kinds of entries and exits and breaks. You can also choose to export files, and you can choose formats here. You can choose how the time format looks and all those things. On the next tab, attendance, again, you can choose the department, the user, dates, and here you can see all the reports. You can report previews for different type of reports. You can, let's say, you can do a statistical analysis, and then you can see these entries and exits and so on. You can see them this way as well. You can use monthly attendance schedule. You can have them already ready for the print and just hand it out to your employees. You can also, there's different types of these reports, so you can experiment with these according to the times you set before. Monthly attendance schedule, hours, statistical total report. You can change these. See, it's shown in minute here. You can change these to hours, but minutes would be kind of more precise, so that's why I left it on minutes. So let's say I'm gonna make a little show here for you. So I'm gonna make it as, I'm gonna make it like this. I'm gonna manually enter some records. I'm gonna choose that I'm entering, I mean, I'm exiting at 8 today. I'm also gonna say that I'm going in at 12 p.m. today. And with this, I'm obviously wrong because I exited before I entered in some kind of normal procedure time attendance. So if I go here to reports and I choose only today's date, so I can only show you what the last thing I just did there. So these are the ones I just did, and they're showing wrong state. So they're showing this because it's obviously wrong. So what you can do here is you can go to save exceptions, or actually you can choose them here. And the selected record would be corrected. So it would, according to, as I said, according to the times you set before of the enter time, exit time, and so on, you can manually correct them like this here by using this save exception function. Because the program would recognize what were you doing, what you were doing according to time of the day. If these different types of records are not to your liking, you can also export these current records and then have them in an Excel sheet or however you prefer. You also have an option under the data here, away on business leave. You can check what was happening. You can choose dates, times, reasons, and you can see what happened at what point in time. Right now, I didn't set up any medical licenses, or there wasn't any medical licenses for my leaves, so I just have blank field here. But in the other case, you would have all the details here. And as I said many times, you can always go to help section here and check the manual if there's any, or you can call us in the end. You can call us and we can try and help you with any issues you might have. So this would be time attendance, basic time attendance of CrossChex. I also want to talk about access control side of things. So here you can select the device. You can configure functions. Let's see, so I'll choose myself and I'll add myself with this arrow here to the device and update access setting to device, which will transfer my information onto the device and allow me to enter, exit, and so on. Make sure to upload users like this. Very important. You can also, let's see, I want to set privileges. Where would I be doing that? Let's see. Oh, here are the groups that I mentioned before. See, group 0 would be no access group. Group 1 would be full access group, and these would be customizable from 2 to 16. So you can choose in which group is your employee, and so on. So let me just check here. The user set privileges. Oh yeah, here we go. So you can set privileges to your users. For example, this user is, as you can see, he's already in OC 500. So you can add them here as well, and then it's gonna do the upload thing to the device, and you're there. You're you're on the device. What else? You can set restrictions of entry here. In the settings tab. Oh yeah, there it is. You can modify the devices here as well if you need to change IP addresses. And that would be pretty much it. That would be basic information for the CrossChex and some of the devices that are used with the CrossChex. Yeah, I also want to stress one thing before I leave, is here on the help section. So when you download the software and when you want to do any changes or adding users or anything, I recommend you check for the upgrades. So click this button here, and it's gonna check for you if there's any other versions of the device. Current version is 4.3.9.0, and if there was a new version, it will say here latest version 4.4 or whatever, and then you press upgrade, and it's gonna upgrade your CrossChex, and you'll be updated. So that's very important before you do anything. Or you can always update it later. It's not a big deal if you update it later. Just make sure you're updated here. So that would be everything. I hope I helped you at least a little with this software. If you have any questions, you can always ask me, technical department, or a commercial department. Let us know if there's any questions. Thank you.